Hey guys, welcome back to Upside Down Data. This is a quick update about the current state of the UDPI risk indicators for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all of these altcoins that we continue to add each week. First things first, Bitcoin is bearish right now, and that's critical context for using these risk indicators. We talk about this a lot. You always have to have an understanding of the broader market conditions when you interpret these specific risk gauges for particular assets. Bitcoin has just broken through its 58K support, or through that 58K to 60K region that's been acting as support. And we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. Maybe the price will bounce and come back up above 60K, above 61K, where there is a resistance now, or maybe it'll continue down into the lower 50s, maybe find support in the 52 to 53K region or something like that. Nobody knows what's going to happen. We have to be prepared for every eventuality. And so when we look at these risk gauges, we don't have the mentality of let's jump into altcoins right now. When Bitcoin is bearish, altcoins are quite risky. I mean, to be honest, the crypto market is always risky. We need to understand that, and we have no illusions about that. But when Bitcoin is bearish, that's a particularly risky time for alts. And we need to keep that in mind. So when we look at these low risk levels that are forming or have formed already on some of these assets, it doesn't mean that we're necessarily ready to jump in on them. This is more of a watch list kind of video. I'm going to be identifying for you guys, and you can identify for yourselves by looking at these risk gauges, which assets you want to be watching. Of course, we always want to be watching Bitcoin, and we want to try to, we want to see where it's bottoming. We don't know where that's going to happen yet. But whenever we see that bottom convincingly form, then maybe we'll get more interested in altcoins. Then it would at least be reasonable to consider altcoins. Right now, it's a little bit risky with Bitcoin's future uncertain and, obviously near future I'm talking about. So anyway, what we do here when we look at these risk gauges is we want to identify the needles that are pointed to the left, because when the needle is pointed to the left, that means that the UDPI, the upside downside potential indicator, is reading a relatively favorable risk to reward ratio. It means that risk is relatively low when the needle is pointed to the left. There's more upside potential than downside potential in that case. You can see that clearly with several assets up here, ADA and XRP in the top row. We've been talking about those a lot because the risk has been pretty low on those throughout. And they're actually holding up pretty well throughout this Bitcoin pullback, which is interesting to see and further reinforces the idea that maybe they don't have so much downside potential left. But we're going to have to wait and see how that plays out. We also have needles pointed to the left on Atom. Atom has been pulling way back. Risk was very high a few weeks ago. We did a video on this just the other day. Now risk has pulled back pretty substantially, and it's starting to look like one to watch as potentially setting up for an entry sometime in the foreseeable future. But again, probably not right now. Algorand has been acting kind of crazy lately. I don't know if you saw what Algorand did yesterday, but it put in a 90% move in a very short period of time, which is quite impressive. Algorand is not a small cap asset. A move like that in a single day is really noteworthy. But what's also noteworthy is that it immediately dumped, retraced almost that entire move. It's up something like 15% from before it started that move. So 15% is nothing to sneeze at, but after it had been up 90%, being up only 15% is something to sneeze at. Maybe it's Bitcoin's fault. Algorand had its pump. It was timed poorly because the market as a whole turned over and started to dump and pulled it back down. So it's entirely possible that Algorand is gathering itself again for another move up. Sometimes that happens when you see a huge wick to the upside. Sometimes it indicates that buyers have come in and they expect the price to go up toward those levels, even if it gets rejected immediately. There was a lot of volume on that Algorand move, that 90% move. It was supported by an enormous volume spike. And so that supports the possibility that there are buyers who are expecting the price to appreciate. But again, it all depends on Bitcoin and the broader market conditions. And so we're not going to be overly bullish on anything, including Algorand, until those conditions change and show some signs of stabilizing. So, that's really the important takeaway today. We could talk about the higher risk UDPIs. We've been talking about DOT a lot over the past few weeks, but really, 2.23 is higher risk than any of the other assets we see up here, but we wouldn't be particularly interested when Bitcoin is bearish in even, Link's 1.56 or, even Elrond's 0.82. We're looking for a broader structure to form for Bitcoin because Bitcoin leads the market. Altcoins are limited in what they can do until Bitcoin decides to cooperate. So that's the state of things, guys. And that's how I would suggest thinking about these risk gauges and the UDPI risk indicator in the context of the broader market conditions and specifically Bitcoin's price action. If you guys find this useful, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications so you get the videos when they come out. Give the video a like, helps the algorithm, helps us reach more people. And lastly, follow us on Twitter, Upside Down Data. We put out regular updates there. That's all for now, guys. With the UDPI, we are all going to make it.